Protecting the President of the United States, it's one of the most high-stakes missions on the entire planet. We're talking about a zero-fail environment where the perimeter, that first line of defense, is absolutely everything. And you know, just recently at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, we saw that perimeter get tested again, which was a pretty stark reminder of just how thin that line can be.
So that was the official line on the incident. A threat was identified, it was engaged, and it was stopped just a few feet past the line. So in this case, you could say the layers of security did their job. The system held. But a close call like that really begs a much more chilling question, doesn't it?
Because, you see, while that most recent threat was contained, history has shown us exactly what happens when the system doesn't just bend, but breaks completely. And to really understand that, we need to turn back the clock a bit. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to September 19, 2014. Now, this wasn't some potential threat that was stopped at the edge. No. This was a full-scale security collapse that exposed some truly shocking vulnerabilities right at the heart of the White House itself. Just look at this timeline. It's wild. In literally 2 minutes, a single man, Omar Gonzalez, hops the fence, sprints 70 yards, that's almost the full length of a football field, mind you, across what is supposed to be one of the most secure patches of grass in the world, walks right through an unlocked front door, and gets deep inside the building before he's finally taken down. Now this slide. This is where the story gets really crucial. It shows the massive gap between what was first reported and what actually happened. The initial story from the Secret Service, the guy was unarmed, and they nabbed him right at the entrance. But the truth, which only came out later, was way more terrifying. He was actually carrying a serrating knife and made it all the way to the East Room. So this wasn't just a physical breach, it was a huge breach of public trust.
The investigation that followed revealed a single number that sent absolute shockwaves through the entire security community. And that number was 5.
And that number, that 5, it represents the real heart of the problem here. This wasn't just one officer having a bad day or one mistake. It means an intruder breached 5 independent rings of security, each one failing, one right after the other.
So how on earth does something like this happen? I mean, how does one person defeat 5 layers of security at the White House? Well, let's break down exactly where the system fell apart. It was just a complete cascade of failures. So first, he gets over the fence. That's ring 1, gone. Then, the officers on the lawn don't manage to intercept him. Ring 2, poof, gone. The canine unit, which is a key layer of defense, wasn't released. That's ring 3 failing. Then, there wasn't even a guard posted at a front door and, get this, it was unlocked. Ring 4 broken. And finally, and this is maybe the most shocking part, the investigation suggested that crucial internal alarms had been muted. The 5th and final ring of defense was silenced. But here's the thing. A disaster of this magnitude, it doesn't just happen because of a few tactical mistakes on one bad night. The investigation into the 2014 breach dug up something far more troubling, a systemic cultural problem, a culture of silence, right inside the Secret Service itself. And this quote from Congressman Elijah Cummings during the House hearing, man, it just gets right to the heart of it. The rank-and-file agents, the very people on the ground, were reportedly scared to report security problems to their bosses because they were afraid of being criticized or punished. I mean, when the people on the front lines are afraid to speak up, the entire system is at risk. In this chart, wow, this shows another really disturbing trend that was uncovered during those hearings. Just look at the number of basic training classes for new special agents. It dropped from 8 classes in 2010 all the way down to 0 in 2012, and then just 1 single class in 2013. This points to a huge potential drop in readiness and preparation, and it's happening at a time when the threats were only getting more serious.
So, what does this all really mean? Why does this incident from 2014 still matter so much today? Well, it really comes down to the unique, all-or-nothing nature of the Secret Service's mission.
Chairman Darrell Issa put it perfectly. For most of us, right, being successful 99% of the time is a fantastic record. We'd take that. But for the Secret Service, that 1% failure can mean a global catastrophe. Their standard has to be perfection, every single day. The reputation of being the hardest target on Earth is in itself a layer of security.
At the end of the day, the threats from the outside are relentless, and they're always evolving. But the lessons from 2014 show us that sometimes the most dangerous vulnerabilities are actually the ones on the inside. A culture where people are afraid to speak up, a decline in critical training, and a whole chain of small failures that can add up to one catastrophic breach. And that leaves us with the same exact question then as we have now.